So this is Lupo. Lupo is a working line German Shepherd. He's just coming up to 1 year old, and he's very, very reactive towards other dogs. So he can't actually see the dog right now, but here goes nothing. So if you're trying to stop a reactive dog and you're trying to use corrections to achieve that, there's a good chance that agitation is playing foe and not friend. So people are, hey, stop it, hey, knock it off, hey, yada, yada, yada. But all it'll likely do is add fuel to the fire in that moment. Lupo's not all that nervous about other dogs. He quite likes to go up, run over to them and play with them in the park. So Lupo's a classic example of a German Shepherd that likes the sound of his own voice. Now, because I think this has become reflexive, we'll have to take a different approach to this other than just punishing the behaviour for it to go away. But the focal points for Lupo's 2-week residential is going to be condition a clicker, condition new responses to the triggers, and to get loads out of him through the means of play. So I'll test him for a bit of a play shortly. Good boy. So we brought Lupo down to Golden Acre Park today to do some final finishing touches towards for his training. He's working on his reactivity. I thought I'd document just kind of how this process will look. We're going to hang around in the car park. 2 reasons we're doing that is we'll likely have a greater number of dogs to work with and around. So we might see 20 dogs as opposed to 3 or 4 dogs if we were to pass the whole way around the route here. And then the second thing is it's unlikely that we're going to get charged by off-lead dogs and set ourselves backwards if we use this method. So what I'm looking for here today is for Lupo to stay on a loose lead, and 2 things. The first thing, I want to interrupt his reactivity either before it happens, or the second thing, with aversion if it is happening. So you're going to see his ears come up, him load, him think about barking at a dog, and ideally I want to interrupt him in that moment with the clicker there. So that's best case scenario. Second best case scenario, I'm going to handbrake sit to stop him reacting if he does go over and boil over. So I'm going to keep walking up and down, looking out for dogs, and see if we can get some reps in the bank. How I see this is every time I click and interrupt him and create a positive response to him seeing that dog, I get money in the bank. But every time I have to use my handbrake, I make a withdrawal from that. So the clicks are the deposits, the handbrake sits, and the aversion is the withdrawals. What I don't want to do is empty that bank account by letting him absolutely blow his lid and the dog go away. So with no further ado, I think we'll crack on. Okay. Boy, good lad, good lad, good boy, good boy, lad, boy. A little bit off with my time in there, but not the end of the world. I'll take a little woof at this point, that's okay. What I'm doing here, I've got my lead across my body, I've got my thumb in the loop of my slip lead, and then I've got my clicker like Spider-Man. My reinforcement is coming from my left, so as I'm walking, I've got both hands near my belly button. Good boy. Good lad. Good boy, Loops. And I'm using my turns to correct that pulling, looping over my right shoulder. Good boy. Good lad. I think there's a dog coming over here now, so I'm prepared for that. Gonna let him spot the dog, click him out of it. Boy. Boy. What I don't want to do is divert. So what I don't want to do is just try and keep Lupo's focus and let him ignore the dog, because if that never teaches him to appreciate dogs in his space and learn how to cope with dogs. So I'm actively waiting for him to look at the dog before I interrupt him with that clicker there. Good boy, Lupo. Good boy. Good lad. I'll occasionally throw in a click for that auto check-in, But we're 3 pound up, so that's great. Sorry. And when you're working with a reactive dog, you want as much money in that bank as possible. Good boy. Good lad. And he's walking lovely on this lead here. Done lots of lead work with him. And we're just traipsing up and down, see if we can find some doggies to go and work around. Again, all the dogs we've seen so far have been on lead, so that's great. No chance of setting us backwards, and this is what Lupo's owners need to be doing now as they take him home. Lots of money in the bank work. There's only so much money we can put in that bank in 3 weeks. Another thing worth mentioning, he's been out for a play session with one of the girls this morning, take the beans out of him. That was 20 minutes long. We've then had him in his crate. We brought him out to go to the toilet on his flat collar, flat lead. He's then evacuated, and then we switch him over to working. We're probably about midday. This is his first meal of the day, so that's absolutely fine, and he'll get his second meal tonight off-site again. Good boy. Good lad. Here we go. I'm thinking there'll be some dogs up here, so see how we get on. Good boy. Nice little check-in for me there. I'm feeding, when I'm feeding out on my left-hand side, I'm feeding in the position I want him in. It's a pram. That's no fucking good. So there you go, he started loading, and that's absolutely fine. By doing that, I'm not rewarding the process of barking at dogs. I am taking an interruption and conditioning a new response. Lupo's been away for training before. I'm not going to go bag anyone out, but I think they used a little bit too much aversion and probably agitated him. Owners didn't like that. That's absolutely fine. They've not committed to that. They've not bought into that process, and he's probably gone backwards because of that. So, again, not here to bag anyone out. We just need to diagnose this issue and establish why things aren't going quite right. No dogs there, but when we're in this sort of scenario, there's sometimes that Lupo will kind of fixate on people as if they did have dogs. There's a dog over there. As if they did have dogs. That's because he's built the superstition that person equals dogs. Boy. Let's see how close we can get to this dog now. And Lupo's a really good telltale sign of when he's about to go into that reaction, and that is when his ears go up and his chest comes out. Lupo, sit. Good lad. Using a variable reward schedule here, so sometimes I'm offering one piece, or should I say majority of the time I'm offering one piece of kibble, and then occasionally, I'd say every 10 clicks or so, offering a handful, so our jackpot's there, just to keep him guessing, just to keep him keen on that reward and get them dopamine levels up. Good boy. Good lad. Boy. So we're now up £5, so that's great, there's money in the bank. No dogs over there. And I like this method because of this way, as a handler, I'm looking for dogs, not trying to avoid dogs. And if you've got the mindset where you're trying to avoid dogs when you're working with a reactive dog, your dog will pick up on that. And then they'll understand that you're feeling anxious because of the presence of the dog. And as we know, the limbic system is an open system, means it's susceptible to feedback. Ian Kirk, 2020. So by approaching this method where we're actively looking for dogs, it makes me as a handler feel better about the presence of other dogs, which in turn makes my dog feel better about the presence of other dogs. There's another doggy coming out here now. So I'm watching this dog here. I'm waiting for Lupo to lock eyes, and then I'm just going to try and interrupt with that clicker. There you go there. That was a good example. You just realised the dog was over there. And there we go again. Nope. So what you saw there, he said no to the clicker, held that fixation on the dog. I come in with my handbrake sit. I'm going to count 3 Mississippis and release him. Good boy, Lupo. Say, oh, almost. Good boy, Lupo. Yeah, and then we have that nice auto check-in, and the big guy's killing it. Good boy. He's my bestest boy. He's my bestest boy. Yes. Good boy. He's so clever. I'm not praising Lupo too much, and there's a reason for that. And Lupo's can very quickly tip over the edge when his arousal goes up, and because he quite likes me, there's a good chance when I praise him his arousal goes up, and that can carry over into a reaction if a dog were to quickly come into the picture. So that's why we're using food with him instead of praising him. Boy. And that whole time he's just hugging behind my left leg, which is perfect. So we'll maybe get a couple more reps in the bank. We're probably near the 8. How long are we on, George? We're on the 10-minute mark. Your sessions with a reactive dog needs to last between 8 and 12 minutes and get more frequency in. So I think maybe one more, and we never want to... there's the correction for pulling there. And we never want to overcook things. But I'm thinking maybe another doggy or so, Loops? And then we'll wrap it up. He's going home tomorrow, but his owner's joining us for a weekend worth of training, so I think we'll be just grand. Boy. And obviously his hunger as we go through the session will be satiated more and more. So on my last rep, I just jackpot. Let him finish what I've got in my pocket. I'll pop him in the van. And he will then go to sleep, which is super important. You are a good boy. Good lad. Sit. Down. Boy. Nope. Down. And he's having a good time. He's having a good time. We've not obliterated obedience with him. Be easy to get hyper-focused from a dog like this, but we want him to be aware of his environment and not just following his nose with a focused heel, which is one of the downfalls of some training methodology sometimes. They just try and divert the dog and get the dog to hyper-focus on the handler, but that doesn't allow the dog to experience the world around them. And it's too reliant on us kind of trying to gain our dog's attention. Just right here, we got a dog over here. No, sorry, thank you. You're my good boy. You are my good boy. Good boy. Sit. Boy. You are a good boy. And that might be all for today, folks. It doesn't look like we've got a dog here, a child. We don't bark at kids, do we, Loops? Okay. Right, last jackpot. And we are going home. Lad, good boy. He's such a good boy. He's a bloody handsome bugger. Yeah. I'll do it. Good boy, Loops. Back we go.